Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, hanging out with.
Nerdarchy is dead.
And Nerdarchy is going to teach you how to unleash variable adventures on your campaign setting. Let's start this video by thanking Nord Games for sponsoring us. Down below in the description, you can find a link to nordgames.com. Click that link, you will get 10% off on anything in the shop. There's also a promo code for 10%. Either one of those will get the job done for you.
Games for gamers by gamers.
And that's Nord Games. Thanks again, guys. Now, we're doing a video kind of inspired by one of their adventure concepts. They do these variable level adventures. So you buy adventure from them, and then it's not like, oh, this adventure is for 4 characters of 5th to 6th level. No, they're tiered, so you can use it at multiple stages of your campaign.
So it's the same basic plot, but what you're fighting against, your adversary, if you will, has been scaled to meet whatever the appropriate level or challenge that they can be able to handle.
Right, so we figured, you know what, and along those veins, let us do a video where we take a story idea, a concept, and hash out how we could use it for different levels of players in the game, or, well, characters in the game.
Right. So we both came up with a simple concept and said, okay, now how can we change this to meet those different tiers?
All right, so I came up with this idea, and I kind of stole it a little bit from the concept of the Trojan horse. And I was like, well, what if what if you want to run like kind of like a mystery adventure? It could be either urban or in a town or a village, but it works in any civilized land. It's not like this one is not like going to happen in the wilderness, and either the town is gifted with a new statue, or it could even be a statue that's always been there. And the idea is, there's this murders that start happening. And every time the players will investigate the murder, they'll find a new clue. Now, this stuff works kind of for any kind of level of character. It doesn't actually matter. So with each progressing murder, they get more clues, they have more things they can investigate, more things that they can find out. Well, eventually what this will lead to is either this gifted statue or a statue that's always been there for whatever reason has now come to life. And at night, at the stroke of midnight or whenever it happens, the statue leaves its place of resting. Could be like the town square, a square in the city, a famous fountain, anything, goes off, murders somebody, and then comes back.
So now, if we've got this statue coming to life, how do we vary it so that it's meeting different tiers of characters?
Well, I definitely have some ideas how to do that, but also some of the ideas for clues I would put out there as well as you could do things where there's bloody footprints, right, and they lead to the fountain, but they disappear at the fountain, right, because then he walks into the fountain, they get washed away, or maybe a drunk reports the statue's been stolen. And then so it gets investigated and it's back.
Right.
So these are the kind of clues that I would kind of go with. Is it possible that there's something on the statue that could possibly break off, and get left behind? As you progress, then the clues kind of get a little bit more maybe obvious in order to get the players to the conclusion that, oh, this thing is coming to life and murdering people. So I thought about it and I was like, oh, what do I need? I need a construct, right? It needs to be stone or metal or some composition of both.
Okay.
Well, CR1, you have an animated armor.
That's while challenging for a low level party, it's absolutely doable.
Yes. CR4, you actually have a helm horror.
That's pretty sizable, but it's a construct, so it definitely fits, even if you have to change the visage of it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing. You can reflavor these a little bit and make them look different. CR10, we actually have a stone golem.
Perfect for a statue.
Exactly, and it's getting a bit tougher. Or maybe your statue's a little more meta, and I believe it's CR16. You have an iron golem.
Well, that's that pretty much tops the golem charts.
And here's the thing, like the adventure doesn't have to end there once they solve the mystery of, well, who's committing the murder. Then the next part of that adventure could be, well, why are they committing the murder? What's going on that's animating these statues and causing them to go out and kill people every night? Especially like, even for a level 1 party, an anime statue is not going to be a huge challenge. They'd be able to take that out. But, maybe the force behind it is the real problem that they have to sort out. And that's what's going to be causing them the real trouble. And, once they kind of figure out who the killer is, and they feel like maybe they've solved the mystery, well, maybe that's just the beginning of the mystery.
Right. And then you could enter some foils in there to, kind of cause some problems on the investigation, make that take a little bit longer, that are actually minions of whatever said bad guy that's actually out there.
Or even friendly foils, like maybe that statue has significance, and then when the players have to like destroy it or damage it, maybe that offends someone, even though they really couldn't have done anything else. But sometimes people just aren't reasonable.
That is absolutely true. On my side, so many players love dragons, and there's nothing better than teasing out a dragon encounter.
So many dragons love player characters, especially with ketchup.
Or over an open flame. But there's nothing like teasing characters of low level that they're gonna have to fight a dragon. And okay, once you get to a mid level, oh well, if it's a young dragon, it's not so bad. But what if you have a dragon, like a full size adult dragon, fly over the town, causing utter terror and chaos in town, and running everyone into a panic, and your players are low level or even mid level? That's not anything that they actually can take.
Right, it's probably time to just move on to another town.
So I thought, well, what happens if you were to run this kind of adventure and the players have to find out what's actually going on? And instead of it actually being a dragon that's behind all of this, it's actually a wizard that's trying to invoke panic in town for his own nefarious reasons.
So I feel like you'd have to start this adventure, especially if it's low level, with like either lots are being drawn or something in the town where people are like, someone has to go talk to the dragon and see what it wants, or someone has to go figure out if we can bribe the dragon. So something has to happen in order to be like, all right, there's got to be a reason for the players to go interact with this dragon. So like that would be like step one. How do you get them to go check it out? One, it's a dragon, right? So if they're low level players or low level characters, they should be like, I don't really think we should be messing with this dragon. Isn't there a whole saying about leaving sleeping dragons sleep or something?
Let sleeping dragons lie.
Something like that. So maybe we should do that. So like, it's how do you get the players to go out and actually, investigate in the first place, and then, because clearly the dragon is a red herring, but and how do you effectively use that in your game?
So what I have, kind of, hidden behind the veil, is you have a wizard who actually wants to lay claim to either the town itself, and they're trying to chase people off, or perhaps there's something in town that they're trying to get, but there's too many people there, and it's causing an issue for them. So if people were to flee, then perhaps his goals can be met. If you want to do this once it actually gets to combat, an apprentice wizard is only a challenge quarter, and if he had a wand of illusions, that would be able to fulfill the requirement for a dragon flying overhead, and it actually winds up being an easy encounter once they get to it. So you've got this big build up, this big amount of tension to wait, that's it?
Right. Well, you could also make it interesting too, and like have like a building burn down or something, and then have they see the dragon fly away, and really like it's actually like an arson fire. Like he comes in, the apprentice comes in with some alchemist fire and lights it up, and then then make sure that people are around so that they can see the dragon flying off, and and they feel like it was a dragon that did it, or he's hiding nearby, ready with the wand, and he knows people are around, and he uses like a cantrip to ignite. Ignite oil or the alchemist fire or whatever when he makes the illusion of the dragon breathing fire. Or if it was a more powerful mage or wizard, they could actually just use more powerful fire magic and really make it look like something devastating happened.
Absolutely. So speaking of more powerful, you could go to a challenge 6 and use the mage. And that's right out of the monster manual. Easy peasy. You don't need to give him a wand. He's actually got the spells to be able to cast the things he needs to be able to cast. And then if you want to scale it up even further, you've actually got an archmage at a challenge 9.
Right. And with both of these adventures, like you would pad them out probably with, some henchmen or some minions that kind of, get in the way and try and harass the heroes and keep them from figuring out what's going on and figuring out or keep them from solving the problem.
Some light combat that's going that's going to make the adventure go longer, that's going to lead clues to propagate the adventure.
Or they could not be encounters or not combat encounters, but social interaction or exploration. Like, what if there was a group from the town that like, no, you can't go talk to the dragon. You're just going to make it mad, and so you introduce these NPCs that the players either have to convince, they have to get around, they become an opposition, or maybe it does break down the like actual violence, but there might be people that you really don't want to hurt because they're just scared.
Or it could be a further red herring of, well, maybe there used to be a dragon that lived in this area but it's moved on, so they go to this cave that's completely empty. There's no treasure there, there's no sign that anything has been living in there, or at least no dragon. You put it some other kind of encounter there.
Yeah, it now has like a bear in it or something. No, you could absolutely do something along those lines, or quote unquote random encounters that kind of happen in the wilderness that maybe they weren't so random; they just planned them. There's definitely things like that. And the example of this magical force terrorizing the town through the statue. As the investigation gets closer to the truth, there could be opposition that springs up to interfere with the investigation. Literally, they could be attacked by thugs or something else, or some kind of magical intrusion. Whatever your imagination could use, whatever you could think of. And these are just some ways that we came up with, kind of on the fly, of how can you make a variable adventure that where you basically build out the story, but then you have these different components that you can change depending on the experience of the characters in the game. And why this might be useful, maybe you want to run games as one shots online, or for a local game store, or maybe for a convention, and you want to be able to go, I want to run for low levels this game, or next game I want to run for higher levels, and you've already got the framework set up and you just know the things you can switch in and out. And this is just kind of like a fast and dirty way that we came up with doing that.
Or maybe even you've got a prepared adventure that you've picked up somewhere, and you want to run it for your table, but it's completely the wrong tier. It's the wrong level. How do you make changes to what's there? And this is an easy way to do it.
Right, and keep the story intact. Like that's the part that drew you to it. Or maybe you just go out and buy one of Nord Games' variable adventures and run that right in your games, and they've done the work for you.
So let us know what you think. Do you use this kind of stuff in your games? You can continue that conversation down below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Don't forget, in the description, you can find a link to Nord Games that gives you 10% off on anything over in their shop.
So until next time, stay nerdy.